My name is Natalie Armstrong-Motin with Marketing Resolution. Before we get started, let's see, what are we drinking today to get our week off right? Today is an amaretto latte. Now that is a lovely thing to have on a cloudy, rainy, chilly Monday morning. You know, every Monday we get together, you and I, or maybe you watch these as previously recorded on one of the other social media platforms, and we talk about business development, we talk about marketing, we talk about lots of different things. Today, what I want to talk about is how to appropriately, how to correctly cite sources or repost content in your blog, your videos, your podcasts, or your social media posts. And of course, I'm not going to name names, but there are a few bad actors out there, and I don't want you to be one of them. So you've heard me say time and time again that you need to consistently post on social media. And of course, one of the easiest ways to do that is to reference someone else's article, video, podcast, post, etc. Right? They're doing the heavy lifting. You're being an attentive viewer, listener, or reader, and then you're sharing that information. And when you let someone else do that heavy lifting or heavy thinking for you, or your, equal partners in this, then you need to, at the very least, give credit where credit is due and do it appropriately. It's not just that you are minding your manners, but you can also lift up the person that you're quoting, or whose idea you're using, or whose infographics, or etc. Right? So we want to be well-mannered. We want to be good professionals. So how do we do that? Well, first, I'll tell you what not to do. I'll tell you that on your social media platforms or in your blog, just tagging someone is not enough. They may or they may not look at their notifications to realize that they've been tagged. And by just providing a tag to a colleague, that doesn't give your readers, your viewers, your listeners the exact precise location of the information that you're using. And that's bad form. So I will tell you that right up front, the majority of what I'm going to share with you today comes from the Commit agency, and that is at www.commitagency.com. The original source URL is in the article and is in this chat. So they do get full credit for the portions of their article that I'm using today. But it is super important to properly cite your sources in blogs, in social media, etc. And I'll tell you right now that there have been some really great articles that I like. And this is one of them. And that's why I've chosen the Commit Agency article right up front. There are lots of instances where you need to cite your sources. For example, you would want to cite your sources if you are quoting someone else, if you are mentioning statistics that you didn't conclude yourself, if you're using another person's thoughts or ideas that are not your own, right? If you are reposting an image that you didn't take or create, or if you're inserting a visual or infographic that you didn't create. So basically, for anything that you didn't write or you didn't create all on your own, you want to attribute it to whomever did. How to cite, my goodness, more coffee, I think, is the right solution here. So, how to cite sources in your blog. The most common way that we cite our sources within our blogs is by paraphrasing or hyperlinking back to the page where the information originated. When you're including a direct quote, you want to make sure that you include the quotation marks, the author's name, the link to the article from which it was pulled. You might also include the company that she works for, the practice that she has, the firm that she works with, her title. You could link to the most recent interview that she's done or to her social media accounts. If you're citing a book within your blog post, and I say blog post, but this could also be on social media, on your blog post, you want to include, again, the author, the title of the book, and if on their book website or Amazon account, they've written a statement or there's an abstract about the book, include that as well. I mean, honestly, when in doubt, just include all of the information about the original author that you can. It never hurts to over credit, but it really hurts if you under credit. Again, super bad form. And Neilmani, hello. Thanks very much for joining me for Marketing Monday. It's nice to have you here. All right. So citing and reposting on social media. Listen, giving credit on social media is really, really easy, and it's easy to do across all platforms. The most common way to cite or give attribution to your resources is simply by reposting the original content. When you repost, all of the details get carried over, including the author's name, their username or handle, all of that. It just immediately gets transferred over. So there's really very little additional information that you need to provide to give any proper credit. On Facebook, to repost content on Facebook, you simply click or tap on the share feature at the bottom of a post. A new confirmation window will open up where you can add your own additional caption, your comments, and then you simply press post once you're ready to share it on your timeline. Once you've clicked post, you'll see the original post plus the author's name on your own timeline. On Twitter, to repost or retweet, I guess, on Twitter, there's a couple of different ways that you can go about it. The most common way to repost someone else's tweet is to retweet it. Similar to Facebook, you just click or tap on the retweet button. It looks like little revolving arrows, right? And it will post your feed with the original author's Twitter handle and tweet, right? You could also just manually repost someone else's tweet by copying and pasting the text into a new tweet and then include the RT at the end, the retweet at the end. But it's really best practice to simply share or retweet or repost so that all of the information is completely intact. On LinkedIn, again, super easy to reshare content on LinkedIn. You simply click the share button on the post you want to share. Under the share to feed tab, you can include the person or the company you want to give credit to by starting off with the @ symbol, and then you start typing the person's name or the company name or the association or the group, right? Once you've tagged the person or the original source, then you select who you want to share the post with and click post. And the original article is just, it's there, everything's taken care of. That's the easiest way. If though you're finding content that is outside of a social media platform, it's on a blog, it's on a podcast, it's on a YouTube channel, etc., then there are a couple of extra steps involved. And these are great resources. You really definitely should think about using them. But when you do bring something from some other website into your social media or into your blog, into your article, into your content, then we need to pay a little extra special attention to giving proper attribution. So again, I mean, you could be using somebody's article, their website, their case review, their social media post, their idea, their book. I mean, the list is lengthy, their video, etc. So if you're doing a video like this, then you'll want to give a verbal shout out to the original poster, to the original source. And you'll want to include the original post URL in either the descriptions or in the comments, but somewhere you need to give credit to or give a link to the original URL post. If you're recording a podcast, same thing. You want to give a verbal shout out to the person, to the website, to the post, to the blog, to the YouTube channel, whatever it might be, social media platform. And then in your show notes, in your description on your podcast, you need to be sure that you give original source URL, and if possible, their social media platform handles, tags, website, etc. Right? There is kind of a hybrid approach to all of this. And that is when you are posting, for example, on LinkedIn or wherever, but if most of us are on LinkedIn. So if you're creating a social media post on LinkedIn, now this is your own post, but you're referencing someone else's work, then what you want to do is write a few of your own words, a little introduction, and then you can put in a quote from their article or a quote from their show notes or what have you. And the original source URL as a link. Include the hashtags, tag that person. Again, you use the @ sign and start typing their name, and it will come up. You click their profile, and they'll get tagged in that way. All right. So you can use, for example, if you use Canva, you can create a really pretty graphic. And then when you schedule that graphic to be posted, you have your introduction and then quotation mark, the other person's content, closed quote, the original source URL, your hashtags, and then you schedule it to be posted. So this is kind of a mix and match version, and it's the one that I use most often for my clients. So let me do this. Let me show you how I do that. All right. So I will create a post, and I'm going to share my LinkedIn. And so here I'm going to put a new post together. So start a new post. And this is the post that I want to put together, right? And this is a post about Gene Lawler's podcast. Okay, so I put this post together. I've got everything in quotes. I've got closed quotes here. The quote ends. Then I've got click below to listen to the full podcast. The original podcast URL is, and I've got that link there. And then I've got the hashtags. And so I tag her right up here at the top. And then off we go. So we're going to post this to Gene Lawler. All right, post successful. Now, if, for example, though, let's say that I wanted to post one of Sylvia Mayer's fantastic YouTube channels instead, I can do that just as easily. I go to my LinkedIn page, I start a new post, I put in, oh, that didn't copy over, sorry about that. I copy over the information about Sylvia's podcast. And because I've put in the link to YouTube, automatically it brings up the YouTube video channel. I've got the hashtags, she's tagged, the information is there, the original source URL is there, and I just hit post. All right. Now, another great resource, and I will put these links for you in the comments, but another great resource is from Phyllis Pollock. Phyllis Pollock has one of the longest running ADR blogs ever. She has, for the most part, consistently every single Friday written another post that is absolutely amazing. So again, I put in all of the information here. She's tagged. The article is here. Everything is in quotes. We make it look pretty by adding a little bit of spaces. Spaces are good to have. The original source URL, and then people can read her article here, right? And so we post that. So that is how you create kind of a hybrid post. You have your introductory comments, then you have their information, everything in quotes. You've tagged them. The original source URL is provide, and you put in your hashtags and click post. So that's what we're looking for. All right. So let's say that let's say that you come across a blog post that you didn't write, but you still want to share on your site. It's informational, it's well written, provides plenty of compelling statistics, it aligns with your practice's branding and messaging and image. You could try to replicate it in your own words, but doing that will sound kind of copycat-ish, if that's a word. And so if you run into this instance, and you may very well find that on Phyllis Pollock's site, pgpmediation.com, and that's fine. You really don't want to rewrite her article. It will sound stolen. It will sound like it's duplicated content. What you want to do, though, is use what's called syndicated content or content syndication. And this is a really common practice. When you do it correctly, you contact the original author. So you would contact Phyllis and you would say, love your article. Can I share it also on my website with full attribution? She's a lovely human being. She'll have a great conversation with you. She'll probably say yes. I can't promise, but she probably will. And then you get to put her article on your website, again, with full attribution. But the main takeaway that I really want you to think about with syndicating content is that you do have to have permission to repost, but this will create content on your site, content on your social media, etc. It's not yours. You give full attribution, but it boosts you. And when you have this syndicated content, it boosts not just you, but also a colleague. Right? So we don't want to be the bad actor. I don't want you to be the bad actor. I certainly don't ever want to be the bad actor. Mistakes get made, but we never intentionally not put up full attribution, right? So that's sort of it in a nutshell. I really just want to be sure that we're all doing exactly what we should be doing. Really quickly, the examples that I gave you for Phyllis Pollock's blog are at pgpmediation.com. If you would like to see Sylvia Mayer's fantastic video series wherein she uses children's books to teach a really sophisticated audience about communication, negotiation, etc., check out her YouTube channel. Let's see, I will get you Jean Lawler's information. Jean Lawler has an amazingly intelligent podcast that you should definitely find on Buzzsprout or iTunes or wherever you get your podcast information, and follow her there on her podcast. Again, I'll put all of this information in the comments. And then, of course, the original source URL for the correct way to cite your sources and content I found at the commitagency.com. And again, that original source URL will be in the comments below. That's it for me for Marketing Monday. I hope that you got a little something out of this. If you have any questions about creating content or citing other sources, or really anything at all, even if you just have a question about your business strategy or your marketing strategy, or you have an idea for an upcoming Marketing Monday episode, be sure you let me know. I'm always happy to help if I can. That's it for me. Be good humans. Thanks for watching.